Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
Good morning, guys. Welcome to Island Tea right here on Win FM, Win Media SKN. It is Friday.
Indeed.
And you're here with your faves, as I'm Sanskevan, featuring Jade, Gwenny Adita, CPL, Martha Stewart Johnson. Jade.
Hi.
Morning.
Morning.
You look very colorful.
Boy, this is yikes.
But guys, today's Friday, so of course, we are just about to jump into. Today is the 21st.
It is? Yes.
It
is. But yeah, we're just about to jump into some conversation with our friends in Antigua. I think they're ready for us.
Yeah.
Let's see if we have them on.
Morning.
Okay, no, it seems like they're not there.
Right. Give me a second. I think they have to unmute there.
Yes, they do have to unmute their side.
Yeah, that's usually what happens.
Yes, so they are ready. So once again, good morning, guys. Good morning, Kadeem.
Good morning.
How are you guys doing in Antigua?
Well, we're here. We're hanging in. We were just going through the dashboard a while ago to look at the new numbers and to see what they're telling us about the state of affairs over in Antigua and Barbuda. I'm not sure. You see, we don't have video.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was saying, I know it's Jade for sure, but I'm not sure who else is with us.
Well, Azam is here.
The usual.
Just hanging out with you. So, but how's the situation in Antigua?
Before I say, somebody just asked me, where's Kevin? You know that question was going to come.
Usual. Kevin is somewhere living his best life.
Yes, he's on a mini vacation.
He's on a vacation right now.
I see. I see. I need one of those. It's been a grueling few weeks, and I'm sure it has been for you guys as well, with all of the different coming out of Carnival, coming into the New Year celebrations. January is always a tough month, so I know for sure being an announcer for a morning show in these times is somewhat difficult, I believe. But just to let you know what's happening here in Antigua and Barbuda with relation to our COVID situation. We have 74 new cases. That brings our total number of active cases to 1,192. We have added one more death, COVID-19 related death, to our numbers. So we're now at 122 deaths. We have 15 individuals in the hospital at present. 2 of them are said to be in severe condition. I think 7 moderate and the rest mild. And our vaccination numbers, 60,022 people are fully vaccinated, while 3,007 are partially vaccinated. And yes, that I think sums it up. Hopefully, things continue to improve. We are in the middle of our spike period, or I guess we're still in that. We're still peaking here in Antigua and Barbuda, and hopefully, as time passes, we'll start to see the other end of the slope. As the situation improves.
Well, I mean, of course, we want to wish a speedy recovery to those who are, dealing with the virus right now. And it seems as though, these islands really had a spike. We had a spike that is said to have kind of started around Christmas Eve, actually. Somewhat an unwanted Christmas gift.
Yes, very much so.
Also heading right into our Power Week of Carnival.
Right.
We see. Jay, what do you think? You think based on the numbers we've been seeing lately, you think we may have seen the worst?
Yeah, I feel like we're at a decline now where the cases are going down, the recoveries are going up. It's probably because everybody who was going to get sick probably already got sick.
What? I'm telling you, like you got everybody at one point.
Yeah.
I was telling our listeners, it was such a refreshing feeling to be able to drive into town and find parking. but in terms of our present situation, we actually have 49 new cases, which brings our total to 5,190 cases since the start of the pandemic. Active cases stand at 770, and unfortunately, we've recorded 28 deaths since the start of the pandemic. And so between last week and the week before, we were seeing around maybe 150 new cases per day, and this week that has gone down to below 100. So
which is what we wanted to see.
Yeah, we wanted to go down to 0, really.
Yes, we were so close at one point, but boy.
Remind us again what your total case count is at present.
The total case count is 5,190 in the past 20. What have we now? 22 months. That's about.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we are.
Are politicians weighing in on this? What are government officials saying about the number, especially since Carnival festivities were, well, I don't know how many things were allowed over the Carnival celebration, but what is the sense on the ground there concerning the number of cases and so on?
Well, I think that there has been a recognition that we were outside. As a people, we were outside.
Yeah.
We were having fun. The thing is, though, the carnival events and events that were sanctioned by the task force here were vaccinated events. And so when you look at the breakdown between vaccinated versus unvaccinated, there is a majority of vaccinated persons who would have been infected. However, that may be one of the reasons why we have not seen a jump in the deaths, along with this this wave.
Well, I'm super happy because I was looking
definitely.
at other countries and they were recording deaths again. So I was super thankful that we didn't have to go through that in this last wave.
Yeah, but in terms of the the rhetoric from politicians, there hasn't really been.
No?
We don't. What has been happening, and to be quite honest, I'm quite thankful that we've returned to this. Most of the rhetoric as it relates to the pandemic, it comes from the health officials as opposed to the politicians, and so like I'm personally really thankful for that, to be quite honest.
Yeah, that's good. You know, we have a lot. We have enough to deal with without COVID-19 being made a political football. It really just distracts from the pertinent issues on the table. So I'm happy that at least in some space that is not being made a political football. You know, we can appreciate that. Um, yes. What did you guys make of the happenings down there in Barbados as we await Peter Wickham to join us?
Well. We had a discussion about that yesterday.
Yes.
Different things came out of that discussion. One would have been just the conversation that we would have had last week right here on the same show, and the perceived confidence with which our guests
Boy, oh boy.
anticipated a different outcome.
Yes, something.
But it seems, personally, I believe that there was a referendum on Mayor Matley, and the questions have been answered. People seem to be what we said, Jade. They want her to continue leading.
Yes.
I think that
They're
much is
Team
obvious.
Mayor over
Yeah,
there,
Team
clearly.
Mayor. Yeah, so there's a new mandate. Some people might say it's a smaller mandate based on the turnout, but it's a mandate nonetheless.
Indeed.
It's very interesting to me to see what took place. Given St. Kitts Nevis did have a pandemic election, so to speak, right?
Yes,
Yes,
definitely.
It was around. It was actually when the pandemic started.
No, we're a few months in,
Yes.
but what I
first
think
year.
I think what would be different when you look at the two scenarios was that we actually at the time didn't really have any cases. We didn't have any cases.
Yeah, our
You guys
situation
were
was a
still
lot
like
different.
basically locked down. You guys weren't allowing a lot of people in at that time, if I remember.
Right, the country was still on lockdown.
Cases were low.
Yeah, anybody that would have come in would have had to quarantine for 14 days
Yes.
in a government facility, and so at the time, the protocols that were in place were, especially in comparison to where we are now, very strict, and I think at the time it really went a long way in just preventing the spread of the cases and thus allowing us to have a pretty safe election.
Yeah.
We didn't see any jumping cases, anything like that, as a result of the election. So it may be a bit of a different scenario. Where in Antigua, in Barbados, you would have seen so many people not go to the polls. The turnout was, so I don't know if surprising, but it was low.
But joining us to share some insight where that is concerned is none other than Peter Wickham, pollster and political analyst and commentator throughout the region, one of our respected voices when it comes to politics here in the Caribbean. So thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Wickham. You joined us discussing the what we felt at a glance, I guess, coming out of the Barbados elections and the voter turnout and what that may mean. For you, Peter, looking at the numbers, what's your initial response where that is concerned?
Hey, morning, guys. Good to be with you all again on a Friday morning. We have some exciting politics to discuss today. I think you were starting with the whole idea of the voter turnout. In the case of Barbados, our voter turnout was, I actually just finished a calculation, 44%. Which was low, the lowest ever in our history. It is a 26% reduction on the previous year. But it's consistent with what we had in the other elections in the Caribbean that were held during COVID. So if we take a look, for example, at, just trying to pull up the data set. If you look at Bahamas was 43%, which isn't far off. St. Lucia was 51%, which is slightly higher. But the general reality is that we've been in the 40-something% region. We had a by-election in November last year, and the turnout was 48%. So it's within the COVID region, I would say. And I think it says something very different. I don't know if you want if you want me to continue and make that point now.
Yeah, of course. Go right ahead.
Yeah, no, because when I look at the data from the Barbados election, and they do the analysis of the numbers, the way that they stack up and stuff, it's pretty clear that people who did not vote were potentially supporters of the opposition Democratic Labour Party. And they said, well, look, instead of going out and voting for the DLP, I'll stay at home. That was their way of expressing a level of dissatisfaction with the Democratic Labour Party, that it's a party that they support and they're not going to vote. And this helps to reaffirm in my mind the behavior of the Barbados electorate and the electorate of the Caribbean in some regards, that when you're presented with a situation where the party that you love is not performing up to scratch, the best thing to do is to just stay home. And that's our way of changing governments, expressing dissatisfaction. But it's not like we're going to change from being a supporter of one party to the other. We just stay at home instead of supporting our party. So someone who is an ALP supporter or a Labour supporter in St. Kitts, the reality is that that person is more likely to remain at home than anything else. So that's my preliminary sweep of things. The swing towards there was no swing towards the Barbados Labour Party. The Barbados Labour Party actually had a negative swing of, I think it was like 1%. Yeah, their swing, 5% from the Barbados Labour Party. The Democratic Labour Party gained 5% in terms of support, but 5% wasn't enough to move the needle in any particular seat. There were two seats which were interesting. This is the St. Philip region. That's a very area that's very popular for the Democratic Labour Party, where the Democratic Labour Party actually would have won if they had been able to take the independent support from the independent, and they were able to merge it. So in one instance, the independent voter got about 432 votes, and the margin between the two parties was only 8. So that was an interesting dimension to the whole thing.
Jade Azam?
I don't remember his question.
Well, I mean, one of the things that was interesting for us in relation to this particular election was the circumstances surrounding the Prime Minister calling the early election. The whole issue of the vote of no confidence. One of our listeners yesterday was curious about did those particular politicians who had an issue, let's say, with Mayor's leadership, how did they run, and what was their support like in this election? Did the people turn their back on them, or did they gain support?
No, but that was a rumor, because I don't know who these people were. The list I saw had the Deputy Prime Minister, the Attorney General, for example, on the list. He was heading the list as one of the detractors, and he did okay, but he said he doesn't know anything about that. The list is foolishness. One of the other people who was on the list didn't run again as a candidate, period. However, he appeared on the platform of the person who succeeded him, and that individual did quite well. That rumor was the way that the Democratic Labour Party felt they could win an election, by sending and stirring up rumors of dissent within the organization. But there's nothing to it. And when I saw the information, when I saw the outcome of this election, I was even more convinced that the rumor was foolishness. The Prime Minister is most vulnerable at the point in time between the winning of the election and the swearing of the Prime Minister, because that's when the horse trading can take place. Mm-hmm. If there were indeed 17 people in there that would have preferred someone else, the time that they would have struck was yesterday, and they would have taken that person to the Prime Minister. Yesterday, the Prime Minister went and was sworn in, so there's no evidence that was the case.
Looking at Bishop Joseph Atherley, his move to switch constituencies, didn't prove, too great for him ultimately. What do you make of that result? And do you think that there is a future for Bishop Atherley going forward in politics?
Yeah, no, there's no future for Bishop Batley is the functional equivalent of a political fraud, quite frankly. He won that seat on the tailcoat of the Prime Minister Motley, the coattails of the Prime Minister Motley. He had lost it on 2 previous occasions under the leadership of Owen Arthur. He won it under the leadership of Prime Minister Motley, and then because Prime Minister Motley did not include him in the cabinet, he crossed the floor to the other side and took up a seat as an independent. Of course, the Prime Minister, the leader of the opposition salary is more attractive than that of an ordinary MP and indeed an ordinary minister. The way it works, the person who works for the second most money in Parliament is the opposition leader. In addition to that, in Barbados, the opposition leader has access to a pot of money which is divided among political parties represented in Parliament, like party funding. So he tried to get his hands on that too, but he was stopped in that regard. But ultimately, it was just a grab for money and a bit of power associated with being opposition leader. But the public never supported it, and the evidence is the case. He lost his seat, he lost his deposit. You know, he said he was leading some alliance of parties, which didn't even get, 1% support nationally. So the whole thing was a complete fraud, in my opinion. And it speaks volumes about him. He claims to be a man of God, and he was on programs all over the region sprouting this thing about moral superiority of his. The public didn't buy it, quite frankly. And today he's a political has-been. We will hear nothing further about him. He said he's going to continue to run in the constituency and whatnot. And that's the other thing. He changed constituencies to somewhere else because he thought that he could do more damage in another place to the Barbados Labour Party, and that also failed. So I think he's a political disaster, quite frankly, and it speaks to the extent to which a lot of politicians are motivated by self. And I think the public saw through it, and they saw his political movements for what they were, which is selfish greed, quite frankly.
Jade, as final questions, as I have one more question, well, the twofer. Final questions from you guys?
Well, I mean, after elections, we look at the manifestos of the politicians. One of the things that I recognize is the difference between the manifesto of 2018 and 2022. Where in 2018, it seemed as though one of the big talking points was the financial situation. Whereas now, would you say that the pandemic, dealing with the pandemic, moving forward out of the pandemic, is the major thing that the population is looking forward to see how the government continues to handle that?
Yeah, and I agree with you entirely. I want to commend you also for actually looking at the manifestos, because not a lot of people do that. So that's a good thing. But yeah, it's very true. The last manifesto was all about stabilizing the situation. We had, what they call mission critical objectives, and one of them was bringing the Barbados economy under control. We had galloping debt. We had a debt to GDP ratio that was off the charts. We were spending more money servicing our debt than anything else. That has been brought under control happily. And the manifesto is all about building out a future, which is revolving around an economic development, growing the gross domestic product, investment in the tourism sector. And there's also a governance aspect too, which is assuring rights for the individual, inclusiveness in society, and things of that nature. But that's very correct. That's where the Prime Minister is going in terms of her manifesto, largely because she has checked off the big ticket items. Last manifesto was talking about buses and garbage trucks and things which seemed pretty mundane now, quite frankly, but she was able to check off those things within the first few months of office, and now we're on to looking at the development perspective for Barbados.
Appreciate it.
One of the things I wanted to ask you, Peter, and this is along the issue of political theatrics. We saw Lucille Moore, one of the individuals regarded as a close friend of Prime Minister Mia Mottley. At least that was the image painted. Who said she was fearful of Mottley's leadership. Do you think that moved the needle at all in the debate? And as well, the introduction, I think, hearing the commentary, I think someone mentioned that somehow Frondell Stewart, his name came back up in things, and I saw a small clip of him
Yeah.
saying that he won't apologize for
Glorious.
anything done,
Yeah.
with the exclamation of wow right
Mm.
after he made that statement. Do you think either of these individuals helped to move the needle one way or another for
Mm.
the PLP or the DLP?
Yeah, and as, again, you're spot on. There are two things which I think the Barbadian public reacted badly to. One is a personalization of the campaign about Mia Motley and what she does, lifestyle issues and that type of thing. The Lucille Moore issue, frankly, came across as being a personal thing between her and Mia Motley, and the public, I think, rejected that and thought it somewhat offensive that, you're bringing the fact that the prime minister was your best friend and now she don't speak to you and she fired you from the cabinet and whatnot into the public domain. And everyone was asking, is there something more to this? Because, it's like, oh, my friend for 50 years, she was like my big sister and now she's changed and I'm afraid of her. And you were only afraid of her after she fired you from the cabinet, but you weren't afraid of her before. So people started to look behind that thing and say, well, this doesn't really make sense. So I think that helped to bring back shades of the 2018 campaign, which is really one in which, they unmade Mia Motley as an individual. And I think that she triumphed out of it because, she basically won the election in which everybody was focused on her and issues relating to her. So that's one side of it. The other side of it, as you said, was Frandel Stewart thing. Again, going back to 2018, Frandel Stewart is a highly toxic individual in terms of his politics. Not because he's a bad person, but he just represents the worst possible time in our developmental history as a country. He is easily the worst prime minister. There are few people who would disagree fundamentally about it. Kadim in Antigua, he is often compared to Baldwin Spencer. Baldwin Spencer, who I know personally, is a really nice guy, and it's the same for Frandel. If you actually sat down with him and talk philosophy or talk history, he's a solid individual. He has a brain, he's a thinker, and he's a fascinating person to engage with. But as a prime minister, goodness gracious, he was horrible, and the leadership that we needed. I think that Baldwin Spencer was in many ways more of a leader than Frandel Stewart, and the comparison is a bit unfortunate. Tillman Thomas also falls into that category in Grenada. A lot of them were weak leaders, but not bad people and not dumb people, intelligent people. But, some people are just not cut out for leadership. Jimmy Carter was no different, nice guy, intelligent guy. But he's really not the kind of person that you want leading. And Frandel Stewart, sadly, was that person. He presided over what was easily the worst decade in Barbados. It's called the lost decade. And then to have him come on a platform and say that those were glorious years offended people. And my question is, what was really the piece of thinking? You're leading a political organization that get washed out in 2018. And you're going to bring the person that was leading that charge back on the platform in 2022 to speak. And not to apologize, but to say, I will make no apologies for it. They were glorious years, but listen, the memes were precious. The memes were valuable. And frankly, I think that sank any hopes that the Democratic and Labour Party had of winning the seat in this election. It was a turning point. And it was exploited heavily because what you saw, Kadeem, is essentially the meme fest that was generated from those comments. I have to admit that I helped too, because I find that the idea of it being a glorious period is not washing. So you're on point on both regards.
Wow.
Okay, so Mr. Wickham, I'm going to ask you to just for us both at INT and here in Observer, here in Antigua and Barbuda, tell us from your insights in to this election, what insights, what can we learn as a region, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Nevis, what can we learn from what we saw here? And we'll take a break on both sides, ILNT and here in Antigua and Barbuda. And when we come back, we'll be joined by Lisa Cummings from the Barbados Labour Party.
Mm-hmm. So you just want me to say quickly?
What do you
okay.
All right, guys, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll be right back with more Cross Caribbean Link Up right after this.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Clean, spacious aisles and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
Well, Jade, so guys, for those of you joining us, welcome back to Island Tea right here with Media SKN. And we are still in the middle of Cross Caribbean Link Up, which is very interesting. We're talking a bit about the recently concluded Barbados election, Jade.
Yes, definitely.
Jade, vibes, you know?
Listen, I like Peter. Peter on here talking spicy this morning, and I love it. Okay, I love it. I love when people come on and give us that type of information, but in an interesting way.
Jade, let me you know what's interesting to me? Is it that okay, I guess there's two ways to look at it. It could be the supporters, or it could also be the persons involved in the campaigns. But the level of delusion that seems to persist around election time, I just wonder if
scary, isn't it?
It's scary. I remember one time we having an election here, and I talking to a particular friend of mine, and he telling me, bye, constituency 1, but we got her. Constituency 2, but they're in the bag. 3, okay, we got a little struggle in 3, but from what I'm hearing, we got it.
Okay.
And I'm thinking to myself, brother, what manner of drugs are you using?
Yeah,
but anyway, we're back with Kadeem.
Yes, I'm curious to know what you guys are talking about, but I'll allow Peter Wickham to answer that question, the last question that we had for him there, before we are joined by our next guest.
Yeah, I mean, very quickly though, what you guys were saying about the level of delusion is fascinating, because I remember a independent candidate in St. Kitts Nevis, called me in Barbados and summoned me to the Federation, indicating that he had a good chance as an independent candidate to win.
Wow.
I mean, and I have to admit that polling is not exactly the cheapest enterprise. It's expensive. And, he said, I said, buddy, you really want to do this thing? Because I honestly don't think that it's going to wash. You're not Labour, you're not PAM. And I don't know you to be the type of person that can win a seat. And the man paid for me to fly to St. Kitts and spend time out there doing the data collection. And I think probably about 2 people in the poll said they would vote for him.
Wow.
And it was ironic because that's exactly the number of votes he got in the election that came.
That was one poll that was accurate, eh?
Yeah, and I said to him, well, yeah, you said that, but I mean, I was shocked, and the guy was convinced. And the thing is, when he saw the poll, he said, "Absolute nonsense! That can't be true. That can't be true. I'm winning on a canter because you're speaking to people." The problem is that people who greet you in constituencies will often tell you that you're doing well. And we've had situations where candidates from one party go, and like, yeah, man, I can support you. The candidate from the other party go, yeah, man, you have my support. I had always liked you. Caribbean people are pleasant, and they tend not to tell politicians the truth. A pollster comes right behind and they say to him, but this fellow don't have a ghost of a chance. So that's a big part of the delusion. And in Barbados, we had independent candidates like the same Reverend Anthony that were actually walking was thinking that they had a chance. And the parties, they didn't even save the deposit. But anyhow, the other question you were asking, Kadeem, is about the lessons that we can learn. I think my lesson is really about the COVID management. And, I look at the St. Kitts election and the COVID. I look at the Barbados election and the COVID. And I think the Antiguan election will very well come under COVID, which is a hint of things to come. And in all instances, we're seeing a low voter turnout. We're seeing a government returned largely because people are unhappy with the alternative. And I think we see a voter turnout which is heavily slanted in favor of the incumbent, which is reflecting the fact that the people are not comfortable voting for the alternative. And that's their way of expressing dissatisfaction, basically, by remaining at home. I appreciate that in St. Kitts, the problem is a bit different because a lot of the Labour supporters could not vote because they physically couldn't get to the Federation. But in Jamaica, you had what happened in Barbados, where strongholds for the for the opposition flipped in many instances because of the large number of persons that didn't turn out. The other thing is the aging population of supporters for traditional areas where people are traditionally of that type of person and they're aging out. I think that will be a huge factor in St. Kitts in the future because I think that you've now had 10 years, two elections under non-Labour rule. And a lot of those old Labour supporters would in that time not only have died out, but probably have become unable to vote. And my concern is when the conversation becomes contemporary and it is about dealing with personalities that people know and not voting for Bradshaw, which was a big thing for Labour, where a lot of Labour people voted for Bradshaw, it creates a different conversation. And I think right now we're having a similar thing in Barbados, where the conversation about voting for Arabara or Bradley Adams has moved, and people are excited by the person in front of them, who's Mia Motley, and less so thinking about, Arabara, who they've never known, who's dead, who's, it's a picture basically. And they're saying, well, why should I now vote for the president? And as the older voters who adhere to those types of perspectives die out and are replaced by a younger voter that's excited by who they're seeing, it changes the conversation. So in St. Kitts, we're going to see it, I think, in future elections, where you will have a dynamic, and Labour now has a young leader as well. And I think that is going to make for very exciting politics. Well, Antigua is somewhat different. I don't know if it's comparable, largely because your current prime minister represents, one could say, the youthful version of a party that has historically been dominant. And the other party is really just trying to find their feet still, and we see how that goes. So that's my take on it. I noticed that the Honourable Senator is with us now, so I would give way.
On that note, Mr. Mikawaisi, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and I will say, continue your work there, and we'll join you at another time as we continue to look at politics within the region and current affairs within the region. I will now welcome an individual who has served as a senator and Minister of Tourism within the Mia Motley administration, Lisa Cummings. Thank you so much for joining us again and for joining our friends over there in St. Kitts and Nevis with Island Tea. Good morning.
Morning, Kadeem. Thanks for inviting me again.
I will allow, firstly, let me ask you, victory lap for the Barbados Labour Party. How are you feeling? I know that question may be redundant given the circumstances, but how are you feeling now that the campaign is over and the Barbados Labour Party has been given a new mandate?
I think, thanks, Kadeem. I think everybody's just tired. At this point, everybody's tired from the campaign, but also just very excited about getting started again, getting on with the work. There's so much to be done. I think we were very clear during the course of our campaign that the reason for the election was that we needed a new mandate because there was still so much to get done. The country was in a position where we needed to be able to take it forward. Prime Minister Motley, as she now is officially having been sworn in yesterday, she made that very clear in everything she said. And so we're looking forward to a new week ahead where Prime Minister will announce her new cabinet. She will appoint her senators from there, and then the work of government begins, because that's really what this has been all about, getting on with the work of government and getting on with the work of the country.
Jade Azam.
Well, good morning and congratulations. What's the feeling on the ground? I mean, I know everybody's tired, but what's the feeling from the party supporters themselves?
I get the sense that party supporters themselves are also very energized. Obviously, It's been a very difficult 2.5 years. People have not necessarily been outside in the same way that they have been during the course of an election campaign. They've been looking at issues, but necessarily reading them through speeches in the press, speeches in parliament, prime minister's press conferences. But this was perhaps the very first time that party supporters in the last 2.5 years had an opportunity to engage with the entire apparatus of government and to raise many of the concerns that they were having and to speak to some of the issues that they felt that they were unhappy about or they wanted to be given front and center attention. And so there is that energy that has been there. The base has definitely been re-energized. As we can see, and Peter spoke about it earlier, I was listening for a little bit about the challenges with voter turnout, and there are those that are disengaged. I think those people are also anxious to see how the government is going to address the question of apathy and the disenchantment with both major political parties and what that has meant for voter turnout and what that means for what we in the Barbados Labour Party term as active citizenship. We've been very committed, certainly throughout the course of this election campaign, to ensuring that everyone feels as though they have a voice and that that voice has agency, and that the Barbados Labour Party now is in a position, having won all 30 of the seats, not just to claim power, but to ensure that that power is used in the interest of the people who gave us such a large mandate. And so really the focus here is not necessarily on, lording our victory over anyone else that was not necessarily the victor, but it has been really the humility of accepting that there has been a huge responsibility placed on our shoulders and ensuring that not just those who voted for us, but those who didn't vote for us and those who didn't vote at all feel as though we are the government for everyone and bringing the energy that we have brought to the campaign back into government as well.
One of the concerns, coming out of the 2018 election and now this one is how will democracy thrive without an opposition in parliament? What will that look like? And I think Mia Mottley has already indicated, Prime Minister Mia Mottley has already indicated that the BLP is committed to being its own opposition and to hold its own self accountable in these times. How do you see that coming into the reality? How do you see that playing out as governance continues?
Boy, Kadeem, I don't know. I mean, I think that depending on how you define democracy being in threat, which has been a lot of the conversation, not just here in Barbados, but elsewhere, because a single party has taken up all of the seats, that it automatically translates into anything associated with authoritarianism or one-party state. We've heard a lot of that narrative coming out. But I don't know that in a country where the major traditional political parties all fielded seats and had a free and a fair election, that we had a total of over 108 candidates, including a range of third parties and independents stepping forward and offering themselves to serve. People choosing to vote or not to vote freely, and people using social media to express their views and express the rights that they have been guaranteed with freedom of speech and their concerns. I'm not sure if democracy is in any way under threat in Barbados. In fact, I would say it's the opposite. I would say that democracy is thriving and alive and well in Barbados, even though a single party has seats. Now that then leads us to what Prime Minister Mottley has committed to on our side. And if you recall, in 2018, even when we had all 30 seats and before Bishop Atherley made his decision to switch sides, the provision was made at the time for Prime Minister to say, well, look, if it is that we need to have an opposition in Parliament, I am willing to make changes to the Constitution of Barbados to allow the seat that got the second most votes in the election to have a vote in the Senate. That didn't happen because Reverend Atherley did what he did. But then look at what happened then in the Senate. I had the privilege of sitting in the Senate. Throughout the life cycle of Parliament, you had the Senate either voting against bills or sending bills back to make changes or speaking very openly about issues that they were concerned about from an opposition. And so an opposition, whether in the lower house or in the upper house, serves the purpose of raising the concerns of persons who are not in the government side about government policy. I can't say that that has not been done, whether it has been from the lower house by elected parliamentarians or in the upper house by appointed independent senators or appointed opposition senators, and certainly from political commentators, including Peter, who would have raised many concerns over the time we were in office that needed to have attention of the government or any of the other commentators that have spoken. But in addition to that, regular average Barbadians, including influencers, have had a tremendous social media presence, and they too have made their voices heard, and they too have been able to get the attention of government. And so with all those things combined, I would have to say that a 30-seat majority in parliament, a 30-seat parliament does not in any way indicate that in Barbados or in a Barbadian context, democracy is in any way under threat.
Jade Azam.
Well, I'm just curious to know, what do you think influenced this election, especially during a pandemic, during a wave? What would have contributed to this election being called early?
I think one of the things that I said, Peter and I, we were on a panel on election night, and I had the occasion to also answer this very question at that time. When we came to office in 2018, the truth is that if you look back at our manifesto this year in 2022 was a flip side. It looked at where we planned to take the country now in a post-2022 environment, and it looked back at where we thought we were going to take the country in 2018, our mission critical priorities. There were 12 or so of them, no, 16 of them, I believe it was. And then it looked at what promises were kept. We were in a fiscal crisis, a financial recession, which was largely created domestically. Yes, we had the global recession, but the decisions that were made during the period 2008, in particular 2013 to 2018, led us into a deep financial crisis. When we came to office, we had to make the decision that we had a number of mission critical issues that needed to be addressed. That was as at 2018. In 2022, we then found ourselves dealing with a pandemic, which had gutted our economy, gutted the revenue base on which we were able to use for social spending. We had the first hurricane in 60 years, and then we had a freak storm. And on top of that, we had the volcanic ash coming out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we were dealing with a very different country with very different policy imperatives than we dealt with in 2018. And Prime Minister Motley made the position as a kind of strategic leader that she is, that the country was facing so much politicking on the ground and so much opposition on the ground on even basic and very simple things that it was very difficult to get consensus on the way forward, and that the issues facing us were different than the issues behind us. And so we needed to go back to the people of Barbados to say, look, you elected us with an overwhelming mandate to deal predominantly with where the country was in 2018. We're in a very different place, and here's where we are. Here's where we're going. We need a new mandate for a new government to be able to position us to set the way forward. And that's what we did, and that's what the Barbadian people have done.
It would be remiss of me to not ask you this, Ms. Cummings. From our last discussion, you certainly sparked a lot of, I wouldn't say controversy, but a lot of discussion, the region-wide, with our short stint on the issue of Liat. And one of the questions that arose out of that came from our very Prime Minister, who was in our comment section, here at Observer. And that was indeed my follow-up question I really wanted to ask you. Will we be seeing a commitment from the Barbados government, the Barbados Labour Party, the Mia Mottley administration, as it relates to the severance responsibility? That is, will Barbados provide a severance offer to workers commensurate with their with the shareholding of the country in Liat?
Well, what I can say to you is that after the Prime Minister has announced her cabinet and she has constituted her government, you probably should ask her that question again then. At this point, I would not be in a position to answer that question.
I knew that was coming. I knew if I asked you even then, I'd get a response like that. But hopefully, the campaign manager, Mr. Walcott, Dr. Walcott, he has said that, we may be able to connect with her in the coming weeks. So hopefully our friends over at Island Tea and our listeners here in Observer can get a response where that is concerned on the way forward. Because Liat does remain one of those big ticket discussions across the region, both as leaders and for the residents of the region as we continue to look at that. Jade.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure joining you guys this morning. Very interesting discussion, and I feel like our viewers and listeners really enjoyed it as much as we did. But you know, we have to jet. We have to jump into some other stuff. But we appreciate you guys hanging out with us today.
And I'd like to say thanks to you too, Jada Zem, for joining us once more. Peter Wickham out of Barbados, who stayed on with us, and the Senator. Thank you so much. And of course, Lisa Cummings, whatever it is, your role will be in this new cabinet. Congratulations to you. All the best to you in the months, years, and weeks to come. All the best to you and your team. Congratulations once more. And here at Observer Media, we will continue our part. So once again, thanks to you all, and we will speak soon, hopefully, as time passes. I know for you, Miss Cummings, we always lean on you for tourism issues and the big issues sometimes. So be sure to listen out for a call when we have one of those meetings again.
Thank you so much. Take care, Kadeem. Good seeing you, Peter.
On that note, I'd like to say thanks.
Quick break, dear friend.
You gonna take a quick break?
Yeah, man.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back, guys, with more Island Tea. Right here on with Media SKN. Stick and stay.
Hortsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equiline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equiline brand of over-the-counter products. Hortsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less. With our Essential Everyday products and Equiline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Island Tea right here on Win Media SKN on Friday. With your faves, as I'm Sans Kavan featuring Jade.
Indeed, I'm back. We're back.
Jade, life is a movie, and I know for a fact that there seem to be some people who have recognized that in St. Kitts.
You know, this makes sense, you know.
Makes a lot of sense, right?
If you think about this and you think about the week we've had
I'm
it.
telling you.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Okay, it's starting to make sense now.
Jade, I just want somebody to write a film called Raw.
That would be.
That sounds like a good name for a movie, right? You know, they had like Crank.
Yeah.
And we just need a movie named Raw. I'm not sure what it'll be about.
No, but
I feel that would be a great. Yes, I feel that'd be an amazing movie.
Yeah, I think so too. I honestly with it. So there are some people here that will coming, if they're not here already, that may be able to assist with that.
Wow.
Yes. So
somebody need to pitch it to them by.
You dear, start writing.
I don't know these people, but let's go.
Large scale action movie to be filmed on St. Kitts and Nevis. Okay, so 2021 may feel like something straight out of a movie, but now's your chance to star in a motion picture set for 2022. Following his award-winning film, Subnivian, and critically acclaimed film, Cookery, filmmaker Jonathan Perry's upcoming production is set to film in the Caribbean. The classified production under the pseudonym title Varuna will cast local actors in various starring and speaking roles. Ohio native Jonathan Perry is an award-winning filmmaker who began his early career in the film industry 5 years ago, writing scripts online for other filmmakers and selling the copyright to his work totaling $10,000. Perry is best known for his 2019 film Subnivian, which garnered critical acclaim and was subsequently acquired by Amazon Prime Video for international distribution, making him the youngest director on any major streaming service at the age of 17. At the pandemic's peak, 19-year-old Perry worked with government officials to create Crookery. The movie is currently traveling the international festival circuit and gathering awards as the filmmaker initiates pre-production for his upcoming Caribbean movie.
I've heard people talk about Crookery.
I've never.
Yeah, like this one of the movies that you'd like, Jade.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
I should go watch it.
Well, I don't know. I don't even know where you watch it, but I've heard people talk, like people who I respect their taste, like couple podcasters and so, like talking about it. Like it's for like you like crime stuff.
Like action movie crime stuff?
No. It's
just crime stuff?
Like crime, like yeah.
Like the kind of crime
yeah, the stuff that you like. That would tell you like the kind of stuff that you like. You're gonna like Crookery.
I might have to check it out.
Yeah, you're gonna get it by.
But if you are interested, the auditions are virtual and submissions are being taken now. The production is seeking the following actors to cast in the film. Lord, please don't let me cuss when I read these.
No, man, just go through.
Afro-Caribbean males 10 to 70, Afro-Caribbean females 21 to 50, Asian males 25 to 40, Indian males 40 to 60, Thai males 25 to 40, and Burman males aged 25 to 40.
Yeah, sound about right.
Yeah, if you are interested in auditioning, please email your name and full body picture to casting@muybridgefilms.com. So
let's go to winmediasn.com and search for the article, and you'll see the email to send to Jade. Let's go through now. Let's audition, just for the fun of it.
We're gonna do it.
Yeah, let's audition. You can't tell me at one point in your life you never thought it would be cool to be like a movie star.
LNT takes the movie world. I love it.
Yeah. When I was like in third form, I thought, hey, maybe I could make it in acting.
There's a movie called what? Ours would be better.
Yeah. No, but plus ours would have 2 W's. Ours would have 2 W's. It'd be more like raw.
I cannot stand you, boy.
Oh, man. But yeah, guys, look, I think a lot of times, sometimes we sell ourselves short. And what we've seen we've seen Caribbean people really like just killing it in the movie game recently. And now we even have local talent that is like basically starring in a Bollywood blockbuster.
Yes.
So don't sell yourself short.
No.
Not only that, bear in mind that whether or not we audition, whether or not we get selected, these stories will be told. I just think it's always better when we have a part to play in portraying our own cultures, our own. Don't let some person from like a black person from Russia end up playing a black person from St. Kitts.
We don't want a repeat of the what was the movie?
All of the movies, all of them, Jade. Which one?
The
all
one
of them.
based out the laundromat.
Oh boy.
Oh my God! I don't know who access them there was by.
I don't even know where they try to film that.
They literally tried to pass it on as Nivision accents. They were awful. They were so awful. Don't let us have a repeat of that, please. Let that end now.
If you're interested in theater, acting, media in general,
this is your chance.
Yeah, nothing wrong with applying. Me and Jade can do it.
Yeah.
We're filming the auditions. We need to figure out what the audition really is. Though.
Yeah.
Let's just email it and see what happens.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think I have the actor body, but.
Bro, what's an actor body?
What's an actor body?
Yeah, I've seen actors with all types of shapes.
I own it now, but I mean, come on. What I've been seeing, the successful actors are able to take their shirts off in the movies. So I'm gonna probably need to do some sit-ups.
You in the gym, you're good. But I have some information that I think we should share. So the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Marine Resources, St. Kitts, this is where it's from. As part of efforts to strengthen food security for all, the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Marine Resources will be distributing free seedlings to backyard gardeners as of Monday, 24th January.
Monday 24th. Okay, cool.
That's Monday, yeah.
Okay, I going up there.
Yeah, because I want some, make on the backyard.
Yeah, you could do something by your kitchen
have
window.
a little. I did say I wanted to get into indoor gardening. So let's see what type of seeds they have. So they include cabbage, cauliflower, beets, broccoli, lettuce, string bean, and sweet corn. Everything I like, so.
But Jay, we have some persons trying to join the conversation. Good morning, caller 11 LNT. What's up? Good morning, caller. You're live on LNT. What's up? Good morning. You may have lost a call. I know you guys were waiting for me, so feel free to call back.
Listen, I'm giving pertinent information here, okay? So again, if you are interested in some seedlings,
let's so they don't run away. Good morning, caller. You're live on LNT. What's up?
Good morning, greetings.
Morning.
And to the Empress there. Sorry to intrude on you very pertinent information there, because you see right now it's all about production. And you see food production, that's the top of top. Yeah, man. Especially when it can be done organically.
Oh, yeah.
You know them right there?
Yeah, man.
Right, the goodie, right, at this rate time, right, you know. You see that movie thing, me like to be part, me pass the number of the 3 square and 10 what them call. What they say, from what year to what year, 70, right up to 70?
Right up to 70.
Yeah, man, you could go through, you could send in your video.
Me process, but me not process so much, so Prince is gonna have to wait me 15, yeah?
No problem, I got you.
Yeah, me serious about them thing there. Theater and yeah, man, hey, man, it's in a way, you know.
I don't see a way that I don't see that you could audition and they're not find a part. Even if they got to write a part for you,
I think they will.
This movie.
No. For me, should touch that, you know. Yeah, they don't want to know where you was all the while. Yeah, because we really with it.
Right.
Yeah, man, so give thanks to the information.
Yeah, man.
And me gonna want to follow you as me say, so me gonna be in touch.
Just make me buy, yeah, man, you got my number.
One of my WhatsApp line, but me change your, hey, this phone you're not good, you know. No, me need a $1 million phone.
Well, just now you be a movie stars, it'll be easy.
Oh, all of that, yes, do also more. But let me keep in touch pertaining to...
See the same phone you talk about.
Yeah, we need to get my phone. Each road, pick up yourself, boss. Just link me,
yeah,
each road.
Listen, St. Kitts has some characters, so I will be disappointed. This is the perfect chance for you guys.
I say it all the time.
Bro,
man.
we have characters here daily.
St. Kitts has, I will argue with anyone, St. Kitts has the most characters per capita of any place in the world.
Listen, they try to steal turkey killer from us, Jamaicans.
Really?
Yeah, boy, we gone on Twitter, Jamaicans start claiming him. We just say, that's one of ours. You don't do that. You don't do that. Every time we got something good, they want to take it. No. We watching all you. Let's
see if this is another superstar calling. Good morning, caller. You're live on LNT. What's up? Good morning, caller. You're live on LNT. What's up?
Yes, good morning. I'm glad to get in.
Awesome.
It touched me where I'm more by myself involved in, which is agriculture. I heard you all mention something just now concerning agriculture department giving out seedlings to backyard farmers, which is great. But even you're living in Bastille, how much monkeys destroying the backyard farmers? This is what they're not paying much attention to. Sometime last year, it had to be last year, they gave out monkey traps to different backyard farmers, but that can't protect nothing to say, well, okay, me making much money, whatever me doing as much work I used to do. I put in a little backyard garden to say, well, I don't want to buy this, I don't want to buy that. But at the end of the day, the monkey is going with them.
Yep.
I want to tell you something, I want to tell you something,
baby.
and I want you to take this and analyze it properly. TDC and Hartford. Look at the building materials and the car parks, the gas station and the supermarket and the gas station. Look at the amount of land that they have between both of them. Look at the amount of land that we the people have among ourselves. They're making billions of dollars, while we the landowners are making nothing. And this is what we got to put in with pipe and smoke. In order for us to enjoy a healthy lifestyle, we have to take control of our lands that we own collectively. I keep speaking of this, and ain't just this administration, ain't not in the past administration, coming since the first Prime Minister. The man, I'll tell you something, right? When you leave the radio station, right? I want to take a ride drive, come up by Monkey Hill area. On the left-hand side, not the first road to go into Shadwell, is second road leading into Shadwell. There is a well that was dug. We cannot drink the water. And that has been there for a long time. I believe been there since this present administration. I keep telling them, but to them the figure is stupid. Build a catchment up in Stapleton or up in Beerford, run the water up there and send it back down and create an agriculture industry. May I see what's wrong in that until I hear something, are you too young to know this, We never used to buy ground food, buying a pound. We never used to buy citrus fruit, buying a pound. It's only the fishermen and the butchers used to use weight and scale. It's by parcel we used to buy these things. The Dominica boat used to come. Somehow we ain't seen them bringing the oranges now. Dashing, Tanya and all them kind of things there. Pumpkin coming out to Dominica. But the man and tell us, and tell us, I said this, so, how could we, in this 21st century, gonna be paying for the sunlight? How could a foreign company come here and put on solar in St. Kitts and we, the people in St. Kitts, ain't own it? We're gonna be paying for the sunlight. And then they're gonna use real land, lease real land from us, and not from us really, because we had not saying it, It's the rule administrator deciding this, But they come to with the landowners to decide if get on there, You understand what I'm speaking of, right?
Right.
Because we got to go, because when they talk about the leasing, they're going to incorporate the money that they're paying for lease monthly into the electricity bill. The truth and in fact, they're going to be paying no money for the lease for the land. The man, we have to get together. We as a people have got to get together. Let us forget about politics. Let us think about country. This land is our Lord and the fullness thereof. We got to think about our land because, for example, right, before parents came to slavery and then it come to that the parents and grandparents were able to vote for the premier back then to acquire sugar land. So then down the line, the suffering that was going on, it reached a point that they couldn't take it no more. So then parents and grandparents went to acquire sugar land. What are we doing for the future generation? We, this present generation, what are we doing?
Understood.
Young people. You understand
Understood.
what I'm speaking up?
Yeah, man, I got
you.
you.
Stand up. Respect, man.
I appreciate it. Well, the man saying, take control of the land. Anyway, like I keep saying, St. Kitts has a very unique history in terms of land ownership. But I can tell you something, that point that he brought up in relation to the monkeys, that's something that crossed my mind as you were reading it to it, because up to yesterday, a monkey went to my sister's bedroom the other night.
You lie.
No, real talk. Real talk. Me even playing.
She was in there?
No, she.
Because I know she
No,
would
no,
have
no,
had
no,
it.
no.
Listen, the bedroom would have looked different. Because she and the monkey would have ramped in there.
But I don't even understand what's going on. The monkey run through. Monkey run through my people in my parents' bedroom. Apparently, run down the hall. Decide, and you want me to tell you something? The direction, the way the monkey navigated, to me like the monkey been in there before.
Yeah, it probably was.
Because the monkey know which window ain't got no screen on it. Mm-hmm. The monkey know if it ran one door down, it probably would not have gotten out.
Listen, the monkey that's been there all the time.
But
It's just that this night,
they catch
I
it.
was home.
They catch it.
Yeah.
But
Bro,
yeah.
I saw monkeys over by my mom, and I'm like,
Monkeys
monkeys ain't over here.
everywhere.
But they
Monkeys everywhere.
What happened to the monkey task force?
The monkey strike force?
What happened? Y'all come up big, y'all got monkey task force now. Nothing.
And when I started to laugh after this whole thing, people was on my case about it, yeah. I tell her, this is the response. The monkey task force.
The monkey task force disbanded.
Oh my gosh. But hey,
Listen, the monkey them outsmart the task force, cause I don't know how.
the monkey them say, "Oh, come away gun. Okay, no problem. We're going down in tongue. Let's see. I'll pull y'all gun down
They
here.
come back there for real.
Yeah, pull
Yeah,
y'all.
y'all really need to do something about those monkeys, man. It's one thing to tell people to plant and go, but then when are we feeding monkeys?
Yeah,
Is this for the monkeys?
The monkey them so willful. I tell you, yesterday, I standing up and I watching the monkey literally just go up on the papaya tree, pull down the green papaya, and then there's like 4 monkeys below waiting to roll it down the hill. Yeah.
They had a monkey clan?
But watch it. The teamwork displayed by the monkeys them put us to shame, yeah.
Yeah.
Put us to shame.
Yeah. Yeah,
I want to move some equipment from one place to the next. I can't get nobody to come help me.
You better call them.
The monkey them running around
You better call them.
doing food heist.
Listen,
Food heist, and the organization is on point.
this is going to make it very difficult, especially what's happening currently. So, St. Kitts and Nevis impacted by global supply chain shortage.
The monkey them about that too.
That's why they're stocking up.
That's why they're stocking up.
Wow. The pandemic has hit global trade with an unprecedented speed and scale, and it continues to impact the global economy negatively. This was stated by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of International Trade, Mrs. Jasmine Warner-Weeks. She and other panelists met on the program Working for You to discuss the topic impact of global supply chain shortages on the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Ms. Warner-Weeks said that...
impacted, I could tell you that.
Boy, Ms. Warner...
We're trying to get equipment for about 9 months now. Can't get yet. It just ain't available.
Yeah.
No chips there to finish building them.
Yeah. Boy, that's crazy. So Ms. Warner-Weeks said since the onset of the pandemic, transport travel restrictions as well as the closure of the manufacturing plants and businesses, establishments, together with reduced work and workforce capacity, have dramatically declined. She added that the supply chain disruption has had a devastating impact on the goods and services chain and has exacerbated within the recent 6 months. We have seen supply chain shortages of food and consumable goods, pharmaceuticals, etc. And this is in part has to do with the high infection rates and the related absenteeism in the shipping, logistics, and agricultural sector of key world markets. And I note agricultural sector because it is very critical for us for sustainable food. You know, we import quite a lot. At the same time, we are trying to work on an agricultural policy that can help, at least in terms of sustaining us. The idea of security comes into play. Wow. According to the Permanent Secretary, the natural results stemming from these disruptions or shortages include high prices, price hikes in the cost of freight, fewer choice of goods for consumers, and lower quality goods in some instances. Ms. Warner Weeks acknowledged that the government of St. Kitts and Nevis has been proactive in the regard, adding that a meeting spearheaded by the Minister of International Trade, the Honorable Wendy Phipps, was held on Monday, January 17th, to engage the private sector and to hear their perspective on the situation. Result again?
Good.
Woo, buddy.
Anyway, like, don't get me wrong. Like the moves that the governments are making necessary. Understanding that it really is a crisis.
Literally.
I mean, we just read an article there about an attempt to bolster one of the areas that could help food security, which is backyard gardening, people. Small farming, subsistence farming, that kind of thing, right?
But again, that will only work if they deal with the issue at hand, because that is
there's a lot of different issues in it.
Okay, see.
Okay, for instance, I'll give you another one. Suppose they start to give out seedlings to places where you turn on your pipe and no water there.
Okay, on? You mean if they give out people seedlings?
Okay then.
Boy.
If you live halfway through to say that rain ain't falling every day.
Nope. That is a fact.
If you're over there, you're good.
Yeah, man.
If you're over there, you're good. You still got to with the monkey then, but
yeah.
at least the water, you should be all right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that these are all reactive measures. Like I keep saying, we have to invest seriously in technology that improves logistics.
You did say it.
St. Kitts is geographically uniquely positioned. And then this thing about we talk about it the other day about St. Kitts blessed and all this kind of thing and so on and so. Okay, well, one of the things we could recognize. One of the things we could recognize is that that's a marketing tool. Like, okay, we may be a little less susceptible to hurricanes than other places, right? But then we build resilience into that, right? But we can't just be like, oh my gosh, the container ships aren't coming. Oh my gosh, the delays are so great. Oh my gosh, like no, like.
I actually saw a story.
If we see this is the trend and this is what happening, then like
work on it.
what the plan is really.
And actually, speaking of imports, I saw an article, but I didn't add it. But let me read. Somebody say you and the alien screech. But I did see something that I think we should talk about, which is a decline in imports, and it affects the St. Kitts and Nevis economy. Stop shoopsing. That is rude.
Jade, that is all we can do. Shoop, you want me cry? Cause that's the two options here.
Shoops or cry?
Shoops or cry?
No, shoops.
Okay.
We want to be the next meme. So, the assistant controller at Customs and Excise, Miss Deslyn Gwynaway, a guest on January's edition of Working for You, January 19th. Editions of Working for You.
You think Working for You is the exact opposite of
only
good news?
You
think
take
working
the words right out my head because I just said Working for You again.
Working for You seems to be the anti only good news.
Boy, and you thought it was a say? We have balance here, okay?
Yes.
So, yes, and they addressed the rise in cost of freight and the impacts felt by customs during the pandemic.
Oh, here we go.
Stop! According to Greenaway, customs is mandated by law to pick up revenue for the government, but this has been negatively impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. In 2018, just a comparison, we had imports valued to the tune of over $877 million. Now, compared to 2021, we are seeing that drop by over $200 million. We have had value imports of up to $647 million. Sorry.
But I know. See, for me, that don't really help me. Like them kind of information, it don't really help me. I want to know what areas we see in the decline in, right? Because I don't think food going down. I don't think I think a lot of that might be a result of the fact that a lot of people just have less disposable income.
Yeah,
Right?
in a pandemic, so that's kind of
Yeah, no,
expected.
my thing would be, and I keep saying this all the time, sometimes you have to incentivize the behavior that you want to see. You can't punish people into the behavior that you want. Right? So for instance, we always talk about the car situation. Right? So, apparently there's an issue with people bringing in old car. Apparently it's not good for the government.
But the government
Not
is
for the
driving
government, for the environment, sorry.
Oh, okay.
For the environment, right? So
Okay.
what you want to do is have people bring in newer cars. So what they do? The older the car you bring in, the more money you got to pay. But what has ended up happening now is that because I know this car still exists, I end up bringing in an older car because why ain't changing? The amount of money I have,
Exactly.
the amount of money I have don't change.
The
So
disposable
all what
income.
happens is you tell me I got to pay $5,000 extra, so I'm just going to bring an older car now.
Yeah, and you can balance.
Yeah,
And then the environment still ain't gonna be saved.
instead of, you're making it worse.
Yeah, you're actually making me want to get an older car.
Not-
Because that's what I can afford.
That's what I can afford now because you're charging me extra.
Yeah, that makes zero sense if you think about
But
it.
that's what the governments do all the time. They punish you. They try to punish you into the behavior that they want to see. It don't make sense.
And it backfires time and time again.
What can happen is people can start finding ways around the system, editing this and editing that, laying on declarations, digging things on the black market, calling the cousin to import something. Like, hey, anybody coming back from Miami? Because you're bringing it to the port.
No.
That's like...
No, and then with the issue that the port has been having recently with people's things going missing, it makes it even difficult for you to want to import anything because you're not sure if you're going to get it when it reaches.
Well, that's a whole other story there.
You're literally just not sure.
We have to incentivize people into the behavior. Let me put it this way. What if we were to... Okay. We see it happen all the time. We see almost every year for the last however much years. Christmas time coming, they decide, hey, for the month of December, there is a duty reduction or exemption on imports under a certain fee. What everybody do? We want to import.
Yeah.
You still got to pay the VAT, still got to pay port charges, still got to pay all these things. But we see what happens is when people have more money to spend, they're going to spend it.
Definitely will.
So perhaps instead of constantly carrying up the cost of everything and then saying, oh my God,
oh, y'all
look how everything gone down.
No.
Perhaps what needs to happen is a reduction in the fees to encourage more spending. You make more money. They end up making more money.
As in the amount of time
They
that
end
I've
up making more
gone
money.
to order things or import things, right? And when I think about how much I have to spend when it gets here, I'm like, you know what, maybe I really need this.
Left down the wish list.
Yeah, maybe I really need this right now.
Yeah, let's left down the wish list.
Let me wait till December because if I buy it anywhere else throughout the year, I have to buy it twice.
Yeah.
I have to buy it twice, and
Yeah.
that discourages people from wanting to.
And people would hear me say that in other places, right? And they think it's a joke,
No.
I'm telling people now, literally, like you buy some things, right? By time you end up taking it out of the port, right? You're paying close to 90% of the original cost of the item, As a matter of fact, when you order some of these smaller items, because of the way the pricing structure is set up, right? You pay more than the cost of the item just to take it back from customs.
Yeah,
By the time you pay the shipping, by the time you pay the port fees, by the time you pay VAT, by the time you...
They didn't want it again. You know what?
Just tell them keep it. Oh, that's the cost?
Yeah, it's
Hey,
yours.
you want it more than me.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people leave their things in these institutions. Like, they leave their things. We often see people who do imports have auctions because people not paying to take out the item because it don't make no sense to them at that point. Like, why would I... It doesn't make sense. This money that you want me to spend for this item does not make sense. Especially you knowing how much you spend on it. How you spend $2.99 on something and it costs you $150 to clear it. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I tell you, they're going to go ahead They're gonna go and go and go until I don't say it here, a company like Amazon gonna come and just mash up the whole thing. All Amazon gonna come and say is, hey guys, we'll collect the customs right here. At the end of every month, we'll send it to the government. All these companies gone to the window.
Yeah.
Customs, because the government can just walk out, but we ain't hiring all them people up there. We ain't got to worry about nothing going missing. We ain't got to worry about none of these things. Amazon delivering directly to your door and they're getting the customs.
Mm-hmm. Problem solved. Problem solved.
But the government gonna wait until somebody else come and do it. The government can wait until some other country come and build a port that consolidates all these container ships.
Mm-hmm.
The government gonna wait until the container companies decide they ain't coming no more because we're bringing down containers full of things and going back up empty because I ain't sending out nothing anyway.
Yep.
And then decide, oh my God, look at this crisis.
Too late shall be the cry, friend. Too late
Fix
shall
it
be
now.
the cry.
Fix it now.
Yeah, but we're gonna wait long for that. So
We know how the problems be, Jade.
that don't mean we can be the persons to change them. We can't. We only two people.
Jade, today is Friday, yeah. You ain't gonna let him after this, yeah. You know?
See? You're mixing the...
I can't take all this, girl. I can't let him. Plus, I'm looking forward to what we have coming up next, you know.
Yes, indeed. We have a very, very special... I feel like I'm in the presence of royalty.
Jade said two special, it's two very, very easy. Once you hear
Very,
two very, it's serious.
Yes, I'm fangirling, okay?
Okay.
So, we'll take a very short break and come back to Mom Island Tea right here on Win Media SKN. Stay tuned, guys.
Hey guys, welcome back to Island Tea right here on Win Media SKN and Jade. I'm very excited.
Me too.
Yeah? Well, why don't you tell the people who is it that we have in studio with us?
Well,
this
guys,
morning?
we have the pleasure of having the current newly crowned Miss St. Kitts Nevis National Carnival Queen, Miss Nekirah Nichols, in studio this morning.
What? Morning.
Good morning. Good
Them
morning.
sounds like
What? What?
you know the sounds that you just make, like, you know what the DJs don't make when, like,
I'm not
you're
the DJ.
helping.
I'm
You're
not the
helping.
DJ.
We need some special effects.
Yeah, we need to work on it. But Nekirah, it is such a pleasure to have you joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Well, Jade, I must say, we have the new, like you mentioned, the newly crowned Miss St. Kitts and Nevis National Carnival Queen in studio, and this particular competition, Nekirah, I think really excited a lot of people.
It did.
More so than shows I would have seen in a few previous years.
Yeah.
Maybe because we didn't have one in 2020. That might be part of it.
It could be part of it, but I don't think that was the big
That
reason.
wasn't the big reason.
No.
That wasn't the big reason. I think it was just a show that people understood that they could really look forward to. A good
We
show.
had 5 really, really good girls this year.
Listen, y'all were spectacular, okay? I was sitting home like, thank God I am not a judge of anything because I could not do this. It was
I heard
so...
that a lot. I actually, one judge posted that this was one of the most difficult pageants that he ever judged.
Wow, imagine that. And that really just speaks to the quality of the contestants, right? But how is it, like, I always find it interesting. I've said it here before, and so I can't hide. I'm not necessarily a huge pageant guy.
No, he hates pageants.
Hate is a strong word.
Okay, he dislikes.
Right? And it's not because I don't like pageantry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like people like who support it. That's what it is, right? But we ain't about that. But what I always find interesting is it seems like such a long journey. Just the preparation, getting ready for this one night of performance.
It is. And initially when I first applied, I really just thought about show night. As a performer, I was just looking forward to show night, and I totally forgot about all the appearances that we had to make.
It does seem as though this particular journey did include a bit more than usual. It seemed like it was a lot more involved than previous shows I would have witnessed.
Yeah, I don't think at first I was really prepared for the appearances and getting glammed up all the time. You know me as I'm pretty chill, sneakers, t-shirt, and I totally had to revamp. There was a lot of firsts for me with this pageant. Had to lose the glasses, get some contacts. And it was the first time wearing contacts, first time wearing eyelashes. So it was a different experience, totally out of my comfort zone, but I think it really challenged me, and I think it's great for personal development.
So you enter into the you applied for the show. For me, what is it that sparks that interest? And I guess it might be different for different contestants and different persons who apply. But for you personally, what really was it that kind of even got you interested in being a part of this?
I always played with the idea of entering the National Carnival Queen pageant. So when I was young, Genevieve Hanley was my tutor, and while being my tutor, she entered the pageant also. And ever since then, I played with the idea. But as mentioned before, I always just look towards show night. Mm-hmm. I love performing, I love dancing, love modeling. Public speaking was the most challenging part, I would say, of the journey. Yeah. But I always played with the idea, but I just saw show night. Mm-hmm. I didn't see
all that goes in
all the other parts of the journey. So I think I always played with it, and I also thought it would be a great opportunity for me to bring awareness to my platform, which I'm absolutely passionate about. I've spoken about it multiple times, which is the implementation of financial literacy education into our high schools.
Watch it, right? We're gonna need to bring it back to top just about that.
That's
because
alone.
This is something that we'd be banging about all the time.
Yeah. I see you guys had Terrence Martin, he's awesome at delivering about the importance of implementing and even just getting our citizens on a whole aware. So
we might have to do a collab episode with the both of them.
Something happened.
Yes, I agree. But so tell us. You said you weren't really prepared or weren't really thinking about the other side of pageantry, because a lot of the times people don't, just like yourself, they don't think about the whole appearances. You have to push yourself while practicing.
That's the preparation for the show too.
Yeah, because you're doing all these appearances and you still have to practice for the night. You still have to get everything down packed. So tell us a bit about that journey. How did that go for you?
Well, I'd have to break it down into parts. Mm-hmm. Okay, so first I contacted my chaperone and I said, hey, I'm thinking about entering. This was the year before, and then, nothing happened. So I was like, okay, I guess I lose my chance. And then the carnival committee said, oh, since we delayed the pageant, we're going to extend it 1 year. I was like, oh, I guess this is a sign then that I'm really supposed to enter. So my chaperone said, well, do you still want to play with the idea? And I said, okay, but let me tell you, I'm still having trouble with public speaking. Not having a master's and being in New York and doing multiple presentations, I was fine. But something with St. Kitts crowd makes me nervous.
Different. I tell people all the time,
They are
St.
tough.
Kitts people different.
They are very difficult to speak in front of. Very, very difficult.
Tell me, so I was like, she was like, so we had to break it down. She's very into getting you into the right mental space. And she's like, what is making you most scared about this segment? And I said, looking stupid. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want people to call me stupid. And I said, oh, she was here and she got this and this, and she can't even answer the people in question.
Yep.
And and even though past contestants, and I would have interacted with multiple past contestants and queens, and they would tell you the same thing. It's not that you don't have the answer, and it's not that they're stupid. Of course not. But something about being in front of St. Kitts crowd, or let me just say a crowd in general, that makes you really nervous. Sometimes the words there, but you just can't deliver it how you want to.
Something
just
happens between the brain and the mouth.
Yeah.
You just can't explain at times. Yeah.
That is very factual.
So from the beginning, we knew that this was going to be like one of the most challenging parts of the journey. So we worked on it from early. The next part was my body. So I'm pretty chill. So my dress code, my wardrobe, and my body. I would speak about first, as a minimalist, we had to revamp my wardrobe. I'm usually not a very glammed up, as I said, lashes always did, always beat. But when it comes to performing, show night, of course, I'm going to bring it.
Right.
So which I was looking forward to. So we had to get prepared for that part. I contacted a personal trainer from the get-go because I know I needed to get my body right. I also knew that there would be 4 other girls that I know would be working probably twice as hard as me. So I shopped around for a personal trainer. I contacted Paula Collins and...
Oh, good body Paula?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Paula been on the show too.
Yes.
She was very, very, very nice. Very, very
She
gentle during the process. She was not like, oh, Nekirah, you need to do this. And, I've heard other past contestants say, oh, the trainers would probably make them vomit and do this. And she was not. She was like, Nekirah, did you rest? Well, I don't think that we should train today if you did not rest because you would not be able to give me 100%.
Right.
When it came to my diet, she did make it a little restrictive, but not like what people think. It was just cutting processed foods, really.
But Nekirah, I can tell you something, right? To me, you have been active, and maybe because you're a dancer and stuff like that, do you think that aided you in, this was just a whole new dimension for you in terms of the physical preparation?
Oh, I keep saying I'm going to do it before and after, and you guys going to see. My body was not even close to where it needed to be to compete.
No, I got you.
It was not. I was doubting myself in terms of like, I don't think I should enter again because I don't even know how I'm gonna after quarantine. Remember, you play with the idea. I was in quarantine at that time 2 weeks, and I was just like eating. So while in quarantine, they extended the period.
Oh.
So I already forgot about the show.
Right.
I just eating everything, pizza, and you just come back from studying. You want everything, eating patty, like
Yeah.
Everything you could think about.
Everything you've been dreaming about out there, you reach home now, time to have it.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah, in
I took
quarantine.
anything you could think about. And then I got the email while in quarantine. I was like, oh snap.
Probably with a fry in your hand. Like, just really like, I probably shouldn't eat this.
What am I going to do? So from the get-go, I started training like the end of January, early February, roughly. And she, as mentioned, she was very gentle. So she did not say, oh, you're going to stop eating pizza. She just said, well, you're going to just have to pick the day that you're going to eat pizza. And even though she would say, okay, if you're training, you could have pizza maybe twice a week. But if you're not training, then, you can't really dabble
You ain't burning
too
all
much
them
with it.
carbs. You ain't burning them carbs. So, yeah.
So
that in itself was part
yeah.
of it. Yeah.
And just getting consistent and also knowing that somebody's showing up for you. Like the accountability partner. I think we often underestimate the role that a coach or a chaperone plays. And
I'll shout out your chaperone.
Please, she deserves.
Ozell.
Listen.
So we often, when some of the girls, so they might go to a gym that with a trainer attached, and they will be training like multiple people. But for me, my trainer was waiting for me. At 5. It's not like, okay, if she come today or she don't come tomorrow, then okay, ain't really a big deal. When I go 5 o'clock in the morning, I know she's showing up there just for me to make sure that she give me all the attention that I need.
Right.
So I think that played also like a big role in getting me where. And people think that I train like 6 out of the 7 days of the week. I only train 3 days.
Wow.
That's it. 3 days.
Consistency and being strategic. That's what it is.
That's it. And she really prioritized rest. Like, you can't perform if you're burnt out.
Right.
So if you're training 6 days a week, there's no way.
Yeah. Your body getting the chance to
Especially if you're not like a bodybuilder.
Right.
Like, it's not something that you're used to doing.
Yeah. Well, let's move forward a bit to the sisterhood of the pageantry, because that's the one thing I recognized with this set of girls especially. It felt like you guys built this bond throughout the pageant.
That was the most surprising, because I think I've said it before that we heard a lot of negative stuff throughout the journey, but we did not experience half of those things, especially between us. Like, there was no negative vibes per se. Like, honestly, like, I still can't believe. I think we developed a really, really good friendship. Even though all of us knew that we wanted to win, we shared our struggles, experiences throughout the journey, which made it, more of a sisterhood.
You know what it is, Jade? Sometimes people don't recognize that there's a difference between being competitive and being combative.
Yes.
You could be competitive and friends. Like, you could, like, it's and I think that's something to be admired because the thing about it is the only people who could actually relate to the experience that you're having are the people who are sharing it with you.
Definitely.
Right? The people who really know what it is, because they're going through it themselves. And I think that in itself brings people closer. Right?
The other thing too, as much as there were a lot of appearances, I think the appearances brought us closer together. So we got the opportunity to bond over a lot of things. So I think, so I must shout out the Carnival Committee for that. So while it did often seem like a lot, it helped in creating that sisterhood.
Right. So it wasn't like you're over here doing your thing, preparing show, you're doing your thing.
There were a lot of group activities, even with the swimsuit contestants.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the pageant contestants really just all kind of came together for a lot of days.
We had fun days, all of the fun days, the makeup sessions. The only session that we had separate from the swimsuit contestants was the interview.
Well, let's jump to Shonite, because here we are now all of this preparation is coming to a head. Going into the night, how were you feeling?
Nervous.
Nervous still after all the preparation?
What? I think even as a performer, you always get nervous when it's time to perform. You always get nervous, but Miss St. Kitts was different. I mean, it's something that I've been looking forward to for a long time, and it's a goal that I always raved about. So show night, I was nervous, but I knew that once I had like a good mental space, so I packed my bag, I labeled everything. I packed my bag myself, labeled everything. My chaperone, she's very good on prioritizing your mental health. And I think that played a very pivotal role in my journey, especially with all the insecurities and doubts that came about throughout the journey. So she would be like, what do I need to do to get you into the best mental space? How can I help you?
Right.
You need to be a bit more kind to yourself. And also my colleagues and from the National Bank Risk and Compliance Unit, there was also, because they would be dealing with me on a daily basis throughout the day. So they would see when, you know, maybe like a spell, like, oh my gosh, I can't, oh, I'm so nervous for this. Oh, I have this interview to do later. And oh my gosh. And, you know, you start to panic. But I think she really prioritized my mental space. So show night, I was very calm. My team on a whole, Mimi brought some music and she tried to boost me up with some highlights. So that kind of like set the mood, right? I mean, I was still nervous. So before fanfare, because I knew interview was coming right after, I was kind of like walking back and forth.
Yeah.
And I wasn't at ease because I knew, even though I was looking forward to fanfare, because who doesn't love dancing? I knew, like in the back of my head, I was like, what was coming up after. I couldn't even focus so much on fanfare. I was just in my mind, okay, you need to make sure you're in the best space for the interview segment that's coming up next.
I mean, what I'm really hearing from you is that a big part of dealing with the chaos, and let's be frank, like it can be a bit chaotic on show night. Going from one, I mean, I have the privilege of being backstage for a lot of these events, and I see like people don't know. Sometimes these girls come off the stage and it's like the asthma pump gotta be there waiting, like
wow.
The type of stress and energy that it takes just to get through that event is
back
insane.
to back, it's like.
But what I'm hearing is that a lot of just dealing with that comes down to the team members and the people who surround you, right? And I mean,
100%.
Yeah, I mean that in itself.
Okay, you have to, because these events, you seem like it feel like you have a lot of time. Like maybe like for rehearsal, it'd be like, oh, there are 4 other girls to go. I have time to get ready. But show night is like they're calling your name and it's like, oh my gosh, it's time.
I just come up the stage, I gotta go back.
Yeah, and then you still have to switch here, you still have to switch wardrobe, maybe change your makeup.
It so takes me a half hour to put my hair in a bun.
I don't know how
they do it.
And so, shout out to you especially for I don't know if I've ever.
I was gonna go there.
I don't know if I've ever seen it in my life where we had this type of representation. Where you were somebody that actually did not opt for a wig or weave. You actually rocked your natural hair and you did it so beautifully.
Thank you. Throughout the journey, I've received comments with people saying, what are you gonna do with your hair? And I'm always like,
point them out to me now.
No, you want to fight.
What you mean, what I'm going to do with my hair? I mean,
weird.
What am I supposed to do with my hair? Like, what do you expect me to do with my hair? So people played with the idea of a wig. And I'm like, a wig?
For what?
First of all, I have so much hair. Like, a wig would look ridiculous.
Yes, I fully understand.
But show night, I like to be very, very organized. And that keeps me relaxed. So I sent a breakdown of each segment to my stylist, and I told her this is the hairstyle for each segment. And even with my team, we practice in each hairstyle before show night.
So you could execute it, you know, seamlessly on the night.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. People don't understand that. You know. But let me not say
Imagine
people.
that.
Man. Men, we don't understand these things. Like,
Practicing
yes.
your hairstyle before you wear
Not
it?
only that, each segment, the girls coming out in a totally different, not only different hairstyle, different makeup and so.
Everything.
Yeah.
And that is done in under
I'd be.
7. I don't even know how y'all were able. It's probably so many hands on deck at the same time.
But you see, like,
Amazing.
if you prepare before, like, do exactly what you're supposed to do at the rehearsals, so that production and everybody know exactly what you're doing and not necessarily like hiding before show night, then things would be a bit more seamless for you. For example, with my hair, as you know, with my talent, I had to be in the air, spinning, and upside down. So we had to make sure that it didn't fall out.
Yeah.
So things like that would
Different
play.
considerations, yeah. Well, I mean, you went through several segments, and after and I'm gonna be honest, it felt to me watching the show almost as if after every segment you almost like you picked up momentum. That's me looking on. That's me looking on. And so I don't know if that's really what was happening. But I remember once we got to the second interview segment at the end, it kind of felt like even if it might not be reality, it almost feels like it comes down to this.
Listen.
Now understanding that this was one of the segments that you were a bit apprehensive about at the start.
I was most nervous.
Oh, I could
Because
imagine.
your platform is your platform. You're passionate about it. I mean,
You could talk about
you could
that,
talk
yeah.
about it. You've been talking about it throughout your whole journey. Then swimsuit, you prepare for it. You practice, talent, the same thing. Dress, kind of the same thing. Everything you just basically putting it on, gracing the stage, showcasing what you've been longing to do. But the last one, you don't really know what you're getting asked. I
Right.
mean, you could prepare as much as possible. And, you know, they say the prevalent issue is, you know, it's broad. It can be anything.
Right.
And, of course, there were some questions that I was long and I dreamt of getting. But social media was not on. Social media was not one. So backstage, you know, they put these headphones on us and they were playing music. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to listen to music.
While trying to think, trying to clear your mind.
Yeah.
And then, so I was most nervous for that because I felt like that was the one that could go
Either way. Yeah.
either way.
Yeah.
And it's really your thoughts being judged and how the judges also perceive what you have to say.
Yeah. I think a lot of that is subjective, and you know, even just recognizing that could be a little strenuous. Yeah, just even mentally, you know, because I remember this show is going on and you're thinking, oh, okay, this is a close show, but like, do you guys? I don't even think you guys have time to think about what any of the other contestants are doing. You guys are just going back and forth, and you're
Yeah,
really just in your own
people
world.
will ask me, do you believe this person deserve this or that?
So,
I'm like,
none.
I didn't get to see what it is.
Yeah, like you're not next to the stage while you're
No,
doing it.
like,
You're
you're busy
backstage.
Getting ready for the next segment.
Getting ready for the next segment.
Well, I mean, what was that moment like as they begin calling out the final scores? Because I always wonder like what that must feel like for the contestants. Like
Yes.
you're on stage, you've already performed, it's out of your control now, right?
I was relaxed. When I first contacted my chaperone, and even throughout the journey, and when I expressed myself to even people and other girls, my fear, of course, nobody wants to lose, but my biggest fear wasn't losing. My biggest fear was losing because of my doing. Like I did not do something that I was supposed to do. And I kept saying I could live with the fact that I did everything that I was supposed to do, and one of the girls just edged me out. Yeah. They outperformed me, but I did my best. But me messing up something, it would be like it slipped through my fingers. That's how it would feel.
You didn't want to be in a position where you could blame yourself.
So as the night went along, and of course you see your team feedback, so it would be like, oh, good job, Nikki. But I felt content knowing that I did my best, and for the most, like nothing goes seamless, but I felt content knowing that I did, for the most part, what I was supposed to do.
Right, so by the time they got to the thing, you were content?
Yeah, I was content.
Oh, wow.
So how did you feel when they announced your name? I mean, you kind of could figure from the different...
She couldn't move her feet with all the little trophies that were... I was scared.
Then when we practiced coronation, they said, okay, when your name is called, step forward for each segment. So I was like, okay, step forward, step back. And then in my head, it's like, should I step forward? Should I step back? Should I just stay here?
yeah, after a while, it's just like...
Where can I go? There's too many trophies around me. There's literally no space for me. But boy, this year was one. Kudos to all of the girls. Kudos to you for winning.
It was a great show overall.
Man, I'm so happy that I didn't attend personally, but I watched live and I was not disappointed.
Thank you very much. I'll say thank you on behalf of the girls also.
Yes, they were quite something. We wish we had more time to get into what you've got.
Man, time went by so quickly.
I know, right? We wish we had time to get into what you have coming up, but maybe, just maybe, we will have to have you back on so we could discuss a bit more, because
I'm gonna tell you something, Jade. I feel Nekirah is one of those queens that we're gonna be hearing a lot about during her reign.
Definitely.
And so I have a feeling she's gonna be back sooner rather than later.
Indeed.
Alrighty, no problem. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, but we appreciate you taking the time out and come hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me too. Thanks for having me.
For sure. But Jade,
home time?
It's been a great week.
Oh yes, it has been a busy week. I wouldn't mind if next week is not as busy. Like it was just a lot this week.
There was a lot this week, but we talk about a lot this week too.
We did.
Yeah. Guys, thank you for all you guys who've been with us from Monday to today. Like y'all the real MVPs. Mm-hmm. Again, this wouldn't make any sense if y'all wasn't listening.
No.
I just come in here and bang my mouth to myself.
It'd have been weird.
Yeah, that wouldn't really make no sense, isn't it?
Yeah.
But being here with you guys really just like brightens up my life. I'm be totally honest. Like I just love coming here and hanging out.
I look forward to the shows. And
sure.
Seeing and hearing you guys.
Whether you join us on Facebook, YouTube, winmediaskn.com, or 98.9, just know that we really appreciate you. All you guys who log on and type things in the chat.
Yes.
All you guys who call in on the phone, each will pick up yourself. Link me. Movie star.
Turn the man into a movie star.
But yeah, guys, trust me, it can't be overstated how much we appreciate you.
At all.
How much we appreciate you. But unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show. And I just want to wish you guys a safe weekend. Remember, enjoy yourself responsibly. Look out for your fellow man. Deal with people with love and grace. Some out here moving like... Anyway, just cool.
Yeah, just cool.
Just cool.
That's all I got to do.
Think I'll find you on the weekend? Anyway. But guys, we'll be back Monday to discuss even further. We'll be back on Monday to discuss even further. We gotta leave, we gotta go, we gotta descend back. Indeed. Remember, spend more time living your content than posting it. And you can't be everybody's cup of tea because you is not a mug. See you guys on Monday.